Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Runaways, Season 1, Episode 10. It is the season finale of the first season. It's called Hostile, so full spoilers for the episode, and of course the season as a whole, because typically it's a finale, so we'll probably talk about the season as a whole at the end as well. So, we left off in a big cliffhanger last time, where the kids lined up, like, no, we're not taking your shit anymore, parents. And that's kind of where we left off, and the parents were all shocked and awe of the powers on display and various things. And I was delighted that we started almost immediately with the raptor, Lacey,
Yes, exactly.
who we now know has a name.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
got to have a name at some point.
well, I think people who've read the comics have been calling her that all season because they just knew her name, but I kept forgetting it because they never actually mentioned it. But then in this episode, Gert actually made a point. No,
Yeah, yeah. To me, it was just Dinosaur.
yeah, Dinosaur. Yeah. Uh, I actually really liked this opening scene. The
Yeah.
fight. It was pretty exciting. Admittedly, the kids didn't accomplish a whole lot, but it was actually kind of nice, like them all getting put down and then them all getting back up and saying, "Nah, you know what? We're not backing off." Like, because
No, I agree with that.
Jonah shows up and he blasts them all. The parents are kind of horrified that he might hurt their kids, and there's some mixed things there, which is putting the parents in a really interesting place at the end of the season, where they've done a lot of bad things, sure, but they seem to be kind of more on this. We're actually against Jonah now, so how do we?
Yeah, especially like the Wilders as well. Like they're the leaders of this almost in that sense of
Yeah.
no, we're going to war against him.
Yeah. What's interesting though, they never actually interact with the rest of the parents, after the opening stuff, because
They don't. No.
they're kind of on their own. They go to speak to him, and they're pissed at him, and he basically tells them to piss off. And like, yeah, as you say, we're going to war. But the rest of the parents still. We find out. That text came from Leslie to Amy, because she was actually trying to warn her because she thought Jonas might do something,
Yeah.
and clearly he did. So, in a bizarre twist of fate, Tina was like the most sympathetic one in that scene almost, when they're all standing together and they're bickering about what they should do and do they trust Leslie or not. Because Leslie even has a little twist herself where it turns out she actually kind of helped Carolina escape, because
Yeah.
after the opening scene, Carolina tells them not to go. She can hold Jonas off for a little bit, so they all run,
Yeah.
and they hide. We don't really quite see what happens. We know they're both blasting each other. We get a really anime moment of like the two powers colliding.
Yeah,
And the
there's
beam.
all sorts of it's any sort of anime. It's the moment from Harry Potter with the wand springs to mind.
There you go. I don't know why this one came out of my head, but X-Men: The Last Stand with Iceman and Pyro. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah,
Same
that's
thing.
one.
Yeah, but it was basically that, and it made it very clear. I mean, obviously we knew he was her father, but it made it very clear when he started glowing as well. It's like, okay, right, so
Yeah,
this runs in the family. Okay, we know what's going on.
yeah.
But no, I was pissed at Dale for taking out a dinosaur immediately. That was like, God damn you, Dale.
Yeah, I was really disappointed about that. And honestly, that's my biggest disappointment in this episode is the dinosaur or lack thereof. It's kind of very much like, oh no, it's there, and every time it's like, oh, we could do something cool with it. It's like, no, we're not gonna.
Yeah, they're holding it back.
It's such a tease with the dinosaur this episode.
I feel, I feel like they know there's only so many cool things they're going to do with it, so they're deliberately holding it back for now, which kind
I
of sucks.
get it, but I
just
feel
now,
like they
but
teased us just once or twice too many times in this episode specifically.
I will say I was pleased because I was thinking I'm going to leave the dinosaur in the woods. We're going to see it for ages.
Yeah, that was really disappointed about that at the time.
Yeah. Well, I thought we're going to see. I forgot her name already.
Lacey.
Thank you. We're going to see Lacey for until at the end of season 2 when she makes her big stunning return after she's been in the woods for so long. However, so I was pleasantly surprised that she actually does kind of sneak in and
Yeah, it just shows up at the bus station.
yeah, how she covertly snuck into that dumpster. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I have no idea. That's a very good question. How did
That-
she open it?
That said, I love it though, because in my head I just have a cartoon of a dinosaur like creeping along like that. And even the hands are perfect for for the dinosaur.
It is, yeah.
She's built to creep. So no, I'm down with that. But yeah, so even Leslie has her little sort of face turn, if you will, where we find out that she actually told the instructor dude to like help them get in and help her escape.
Yeah.
So that she's not like she doesn't look guilty of it to Jonah, but she did like make sure she's worried enough for her kid that she wants them to be away. So It's interesting. I know there's less of the parents in the books. I don't know if this is where the parents went in the books, like still anyway, where they all kind of.
Yeah, it's obviously the premise has always been the parents are the villains, and that's what I've always been told anyway. Maybe the books do change that. And,
at least at first, I think the big difference here is because they push the kids running away. That if in the books the parents do immediately, eventually become more sympathetic or more anti-Jonah, then it's just kind of weird because we're at a point now where the kids haven't ran away until we get to that point. So it's kind of
it feels like they're not running away from the parents anymore. They're just running away from Jonah.
To an extent, yeah.
I mean, they don't quite know that, but ultimately that's kind of what's happening.
Cause they're still mad at their parents. They're still like, that whole conversation with Nico and Alex, like, oh, would you call your parents? I've got nothing to say. And
no, yeah, they are. But the parents are ultimately kind of on their side by the end of the episode. So it's weird.
Yeah, and I feel like the parents are all doomed because of that. I feel like the obvious way to go here in the story is that the parents will help them win, but they're all going to sacrifice themselves, almost as a penance for what they've done in the past, because they have done bad things, and the teens will be the ones who kind of like go forward. So I tell you what I did dig though, and Molly's still my favourite. When they're at the shop getting all the clothes, and she comes out with these ridiculous glasses on.
Yeah, full hippie look.
Yeah, I was doing that. I was down with that. The relationship stuff's interesting because I don't think it's went exactly where we thought it was going to based on some of the last episode.
Okay.
They
don't play too much of it in this episode. They don't really have the time.
But they seem to have mostly resolved what we were kind of dreading with the chasing Gert stuff, because we were really groaning at the was a one-time thing. It feels like they've already kind of just dealt with it. They're not
quite there, but they're like well on the path.
Yeah. I think Gert finding out about it and Nico playing matchmaker was like, okay, right, we're not going to have to deal with this too much because they're kind of fixing it. Okay,
yeah, because obviously we don't really get their interaction following that.
No, but they are sleeping together in the divan.
No, this is true.
They're holding hands, all very sweet.
Yeah, so we might be all right.
I was generally surprised though with Nico and Carolina. Like their moments, like I didn't expect them to play it as forgive the word, but straight as they did. If you know what I mean by that though.
No, I do. Yeah. But
like I was expecting like some sort of awkwardness, like, oh, I'm glad you're back, but awkward and kind of like, oh, I don't know how to talk to you right now.
No.
But instead, Nico goes in and is like, yeah, this is
very forthright, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very upfront, which I wasn't expecting.
I think I'm still a little concerned about the Alex side of things because we didn't get any of that here.
Yeah. I think Alex. I feel like they've planted seeds in this episode as to kind of what his deal's going to be going forward. Like, he's kind of the leader in a lot of ways, but the idea that he's kind of he's the morally grey one, perhaps going forward, where he's going to maybe like have some demons that he's going to fight with himself, and
I did think it was interesting that in the same way that his parents were kind of off on their own, they're doing their own thing. He's kind of that opinion here. He's disagreeing with most of the group.
Yeah, I think if they play with that a little bit more, I think that could be interesting.
I'm looking forward to that stuff with him. It's the relationship stuff. Like, are they going to try and keep this secret from him? Do they just tell him? Is he really awkward about it? That's the stuff I'm kind of concerned about.
That's fair. There's like none of it in this episode though, because like
there's not in this episode because, like I said, there's just no time for it.
Because literally after that kiss, I was like, oh, is Alex going to see this? It's going to be this moment. Because that was my one worry during that kiss. Because it was a really sweet moment. Because the way they were smelling each other, got good chemistry, really good chemistry between the two of them. And it was also just actually kind of funny. Like, how there's always that awkward scene in, like, especially in teen comedies where the boy will walk past and the girl's like changing and he's kind of like he's trying not to look because it's inappropriate, but the temptation's there. It's actually really funny to get that scene, but with a girl like being the one who's like, oh, she's on to like taking her top off, or it gives a different spin on it. It's a different dynamic. But I was worried during the kiss, oh, is he going to see this and that's going to create the tension here? And instead, immediately it's like, hey, where's Alex? I don't know. That's the thing. I am worried about what it's going to do with because I don't know if what direction they're going to go with it. The best option is that it's just like, yeah, all right, cool, whatever. But that's the also in my mind the least likely option. I don't think it's without any drama. I don't think it's completely unlikely. I feel like what might happen is that his other drama with whatever else is going on with them is going to outweigh his concern with that.
Hopefully, yeah.
But where he'll be so wrapped up in well, I mean, not to get to the end of the episode, but it'll be so wrapped up in the outlaw lifestyle that it won't necessarily be as deep a thing. But I don't know. I mean, there is definitely the possibility for some awkward drama out of it. And depending on how much it is, it might be a big deal. It might not be a big deal. It could be something that really ruins an episode or two.
We won't know until next year.
I think I'll say. I mean, worst case scenario is something that ruins lots of episodes. I'll say I'll expect maybe an episode ruined because of it, and I can live with that. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. There's at least one's down the pan.
Yeah, but like. There's that, and then there's the middle of Supergirl season 2 with Mon-El, where it ruins like 7 episodes. So
yeah, and that hurts especially more when you've only got like 10 episodes.
So this is the thing though. I think this season's shown that when it comes to the character stuff like this, they've actually moved through things quite quickly. Where okay, if you don't like this bit of character drama, don't worry. In about 2 episodes' time, they've moved on to other things.
Yeah, it's typically only been 1 or 2 episodes that these problems have persisted. So what one is best case scenario, really? I think.
Yeah. And maybe 2 or 3 is like worse.
So, yeah.
Well, you know,
it could be worse. It's not great, but it could be worse.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. And I think the thing we've been saying all season is the kids all interacting with each other, them team building, and just them actually sneaking into the woods and setting up a campfire and stuff. Like, I liked all this stuff. I like all this kind of like this survive together. Gert complaining that a chicken cost $8, and then the little dig at Whole Foods as she throws a chicken over to Lacey.
Yeah,
you know, I like all that. I mean, that's the funny thing. I think Lacey's probably going to be the most expensive one to feed.
Oh yeah,
going forward, she'll have an appetite.
Obviously.
Yeah, a lot of meat for her, but yeah. So no, I was digging all this stuff. Also, the little mission to get Carolina back, and the decision to get her back. Because again, Alex was kind of against it at first when Nico just suggested it, but once everyone kind of did the whole, I always think of the scene from Guardians of the Galaxy, or take your pick, anything with a team where they all one by one like volunteer for the mission, like that moment.
Yeah. And at the end of it, he's like, all right, fine, I guess so. He's still not really enthusiastic, though, is he?
He doesn't argue about it, though. He doesn't say, "Oh no," he doesn't, keep being antagonistic towards the group.
No, but he's just like, all right, fine.
I feel like you're putting a bit more of a negative spin on his response.
I don't know. I feel like to me that's how I don't remember his exact wording, but it was that's the way he played it to me.
It did kind of. To me, it was conceding, but not in like a sort of. I think there's a very specific kind of like tone that he hit, where it was like, okay, sure, let's do this then. But it was kind of like, okay, the group wants to do this, I'm willing to go with the group. It was, I seen it as more of a positive thing because he was willing to go along because the group decided it was the best thing to do.
All right, fair enough. I think to me, I was more looking at it. It's similar to that, but more he knew he wasn't going to win this argument, so he just kind of went with it.
That's the cynical viewpoint.
That is, yeah.
So they go on this little mission, and they actually get picked up by the church's like little runaway mobile. Two of them chasing. I love how it's Chase and Molly who make the choice, and I was like, why Molly specifically? I feel like you keep the younger one safer. And then when they get to the door where they have to break in, I'm like, oh, this is why, because she can just rip the door off.
Yeah,
she's too handy. I like the other guy freaking out, by the way.
That was so. It was like, oh, I did not see this. I'm not here. I did not let you in.
Especially at the point when she just got the whole door off and just throws it off to the side. And he's like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm done.
Yeah, that's it. I'm out of here.
In fact, speaking of that, even the scene in the coffee shop earlier when they steal his coffee, and they're basically just trying to get him to like go along with them. And obviously we find out later that he does eventually because of Leslie. But just Nico's little thing about like, hey, hell, what the hell's in this? It's like, oh, it's like a
6 shots of espresso. Don't judge me.
And then when she's like, "I get my coffee back," and she's like, "Yeah, I think I actually kind of like this." just to walk off.
The start of an addiction.
Yeah, this is the start of this life of a criminal where they just steal things, and I'm just keeping your coffee. You're not getting it back. It's mine.
Yeah.
So no, dug that. But of course, the big thing that it all builds to at the end with Jonah is that he frames them for the murder of Destiny, who was the very first girl way back in the first episode. Like, no, Molly's potentially the murderer, and then she's got like these accomplices with her, and their faces all come on the news, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, and I have no idea if they did this in the book, but it's almost like, okay, you were already running away, but now you're like you're on the run.
Fugitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was in some ways a little disappointing because I feel like okay, now they have to stay in this city, this location. Whereas they're at the bus station, they're gonna go buy tickets and get out of here.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, we're going to a completely new place next season. And then they're kind of like, well, that's shot to hell. We can't. They'll see us immediately.
I don't think we could ever have done that though, because it'd be so far away from the threat of Jonah.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought I think maybe it would have been more interesting if Jonah had chased them.
maybe, but we're still tied to this plot with the what's under the ground and the city being earthquake to hell and whatnot. So it makes sense not to leave. I kind of like it because some of my favourite stuff in this episode, I love when they're like, oh, they think the police are watching us, oh, play it cool, like, oh, we have to hide in the woods. Like, I actually kind of like all this survival stuff where them trying to figure out how they can get away with things. So I'm actually kind of down for them being wanted.
Being fugitives, that could be fun, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of down for that. And also, we don't, obviously this is the final scene, and this is the cliffhanger, and obviously, I told you the final shot would be them running away. I told you. It wasn't exactly what I said, but it was in the ballpark. I'm taking it. I'm taking the win. And I like that. I was calling it as well. Because they all sort of run one by one as they go past the camera. I was like, Dinosaur's going to be last. Dinosaur's going to be last. And sure enough, the tail came in. Love it.
Dinosaur is great.
Dinosaur is great. But obviously we had parent stuff throughout the episode, as we mentioned, with them basically deciding they're going to like try and revolt against Jonah. Because they discover that whatever's under that ground that he wants is actually something that's living. Stacey and Dale even theorise that it's something that's related to him.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a jump on their part to kind of just get straight to. They were like, "Oh, well, we got his DNA. This was weird." I was like, "Yeah, but I don't see why there's a link necessarily." I know it makes sense because okay, sure, there's a link, but to them it seemed like a jump.
It makes sense from a writing point of view in terms of writing a story. It doesn't make necessarily sense from a scientific point of view. But hey, I mean, it's one thing to just jump to a theory and then try and prove it. If they prove it and then it's like, okay, they've proven it, so fine. But
yeah, it just seemed like a jump for them to go straight to. Oh, I bet it's related to him.
Yeah, I'll admit that kind of made me go, oh, okay, sure. Made that leap.
I'm sure we would have speculated as much, but I didn't need them to be speculating it in this episode.
Yeah, is this like his race's like god or something that's under the ground?
Yeah, ancestor perhaps.
Glowing space god or whatever. Look, I'm sure we'll find out more about his and Carolina's heritage as we go through this next season.
I'm sure, yeah.
So, but no, so that's the whole thing. We don't see Victor, but we do. It is referenced that there's plans for him. We see his little sarcophagus, and he had Frank in the room, like Jonah, and we see that Jonah's starting to like deteriorate. Like his arms are all starting to go wrinkly and flaky, and I'm like, okay, so is he basically going to trick Frank into sacrificing himself to give Victor his life back? It kind of felt like that, didn't it?
Sure, but then he'd still need another one for himself, right? Because he's going as well.
Sure. Although it feels like there's an end game where he doesn't need to do that anymore. Like if they achieve their plan,
assume so. Yeah.
So if they achieve their plan, he won't have to like take the sacrifices anymore.
No, it makes sense.
But certainly he's trying to manipulate him into sacrificing himself for one of them at the very least.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I'm shocked we got to the end of the last episode and no parents died. I was really expecting Frank to.
Yeah, no one died. It. Oh, really?
It's funny because we were joking last time how we expected that Frank would die, and then we sort of joked that maybe every parent but Frank will die. And in this episode, I have to laugh that Frank was the one who seemed to be on the kid's side, and now every other parent's on the kid's side except Frank. Frank seems to be working with Jonah.
Yeah. They're just reversing it every time, aren't they?
Oh god, it's insane. But no, I am excited to possibly see Tina go full rage with Jonah. Now that she knows that like our daughter was murdered by him, it's like, oh, like how is she going to react to that?
No, that'll be fun. I think she's been very subdued for the most part, and there's only been like moments of emotion.
Yeah.
But after this, it's gonna go all out on it, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, interesting to see if the parents team back up with the Wilders, if they sort of have a united front. Because if the Wilders are going to war, it makes sense to build an army, if you will.
It does, yeah.
So, curious to see that. Overall, I actually quite like the finale. It did, much like last episode, it did kind of, again, point out how sort of meandering some of the middle of the season felt.
Yeah, I feel like
but
it was a solid finale. I don't think it didn't blow me away. It felt like it was doing exactly what it was supposed to do
yeah,
for the end of the season.
it almost felt like the whole season, in a sense, was a pilot for the rest of the show.
Yeah, and the other show that springs to mind that did that was Preacher.
Which did not go so well when we came back for season 2. I'm a bit more confident with this one.
I'm more confident with this one
because unlike Preacher, I actually really like the characters in this show. So,
yeah, definitely.
So that's the big difference there. But yeah, so no.
I do think this episode as a season plan was a little, by the numbers. Nothing was really surprising or really that shocking. It was very much
sure.
like, okay, no, here are the beats that we have to hit for this to make sense. So let's do them.
But most
and
of
they
them
were all
worked.
done pretty well. Like, I'm not complaining about that, but it would have been nice to have a little surprise of something, I think.
Yeah, most of them were entertaining. Certainly, like I say, all the action stuff at the start and the dig site was really good.
Solid.
Yeah. So I think if nothing else, it effectively bonded the team. I think, like this season, like at the end of this, especially when they're going to go save Carolina, like, oh, there's something wrong with this picture. One of us is missing. Like like that line was like, okay, no, like we're a team now. We are completely. I mean, it happened last episode as well when they referred to themselves as a family. But
I do think it's amusing that this show started with Alex being like, "Nah, we're getting everyone together. Let's, we're being a group of friends again." And now he's kind of the one on the outside doing his own thing at the end.
It's subverting your expectations.
Is it?
It is, yes. And according to Star Wars fans, if you subvert your expectations, it's instantly good. So
it's not instantly good. It helps. God, you're a dick.
No, I've enjoyed the season. I think, like with what you've said, some of the middle is a bit meandering, and it could have easily cut about 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's a good season. I don't love it. It's still rough around the edges in most areas. Not all, but most. Like the kids are pretty solid.
Yeah, kids are solid. The parents got better towards the end. I feel like the parents were uninteresting at first, and then the last few episodes kind of made them a bit more.
Yeah, maybe like episode 7 onwards, the back half or so, they were definitely more interesting. But I definitely think it's a good first season.
Yeah. So yeah, and admittedly we spoke a lot last time about how the decision to make them not run away till the finale was maybe a poor choice. At least if it was a poor choice if it's going to be 10 episodes, and I think that is the biggest problem with the season, and we've spoken about that. Luckily though, the characters are fun enough that you can kind of I feel like binge watching this is probably going to be really easy.
Yeah, and the benefit to this now is, okay, it's done, so we don't have to go through that next season waiting for them to run away. We can kind of just jump straight into it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be having anything that we need to specifically drag out and hold off a certain beat for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most fun that I have in the show is when the kids are together working out how to do things, working out what the plan is. That's the sort of stuff that's the best. And I think having them now be completely on their own and having to figure things out on their own is where I want the show to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that in season 2. And with a bit of luck, maybe they'll fix a few of the rough edges that we've mentioned. And
hopefully, it's not unheard of for a season 2 to do that.
It is not. So, but no, that's Runaways season 1. Finito. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
Rough elements, but pretty good. So, let us know what you thought of the episode and the season as a whole in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. You can also find a link to that in the description, as well as some other links. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?